Can't believe we're almost done here. So last time, I'm still angry. We only have 3 people over here. Last time, Maria, whose story ended way up over here, started coming. She got her memory back. BRB, I'll need to get water. Okay, so Maria got her memory back and then started to feel the effects of the UA virus. So she's currently incapacitated. Let's see, Achi and Titomi and Kano and Stanley are all with her, and then they found out that this Alfred guy is like, haha, try to beat me, you try it, you won't. Minorikawa, the printer, and Chiaki were all on their way to whatever it was to try to finish their copy. We'll see how they connect up with us. Osawa's route ended as well because he's on his way to join the Achikano groups in at the lab. Guma, hello, and yeah, so crazy stuff. I guess we'll start with Kano. But yeah, hello everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Everyone should hydrate. Kano's cell phone rang. He saw Kuze's name on the display. So yeah, this section of time is going to be 1800 to 2000 hours. So it might be 4 or 5 hour stream. We'll have to see. Is Mass Effect any good? Hello, Jakob. I've heard it's good. I've never actually played it though. Kano speaking. What the hell are you doing? The director's voice is shrill with irritation. What's the situation with Maria Osawa? I have her in custody, sir. We need to get her into the quarantine immediately. I'll send a counter NBC terrorism unit to pick her up. Oh man, Counter National Broadcasting Corporation. A public safety mobile investigation unit belonging to the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department Public Security Bureau. The acronym NBC refers to nuclear, biological, and chemical threats. The unit not only gathers information, investigates terror incidents that makes use of these means, but also deploys relief and safety restoration measures. Before we continue, just a reminder, hey John, you're awesome. Inflate my ego. You happen to be amazing. I know that the courses that you pick are going to work out in the end, because you make them work. That's just how it goes. You're going to make things work. I know it, because it's you. So stay awesome and keep on the fight. What's your location? Sir, the situation's a little complicated at the moment, Kano replied. He and Stanley made eye contact. Kano gave him a knowing nod. He knew what he needed to do here. He briefly informed Kuze the plan to take Maria to laboratory.
I couldn't do it.
God, I love her voice. Keep on keeping on. How are you? I'm doing all right. I've spent the past 2 days waiting for today to come because I need this game I need to finish this game. I've been like itching to just finish it. And yesterday I went to an aquarium, so that was nice too. But was careful not to mention Alfred. Please, sir, Kano said, bowing reflexively to the phone. Let me handle this. Absolutely not, Kuze exclaimed. There's no way I can allow that. Maria Osawa needs to go in quarantine right now. The act of placing infectees in isolation, such as in a medical treatment facility, in order to prevent the spread of infection. For viruses capable of airborne transmission, an airborne infection isolation room, AIIR, is sometimes used, which employs negative air pressure to ensure that air from within the room does not leak outside. Sir, please, just give us a little more time. Giving her the antiviral is the only way we can save her. If we put her in quarantine, it'll be a death sentence. Kuze let out a growl of frustration. Kano? That isn't your decision to make. Kano had run out of arguments. It was clear Kuze's only concern was stopping the spread of the virus. Director Kuze? Are you just going to let Maria Osawa die? We can't put the lives of everyone in Shibuya at risk in order to save a single person. I know that, sir. That's why I'm asking you to please let me go to that laboratory. And if it looks like we're not going to be able to hack the password, then at that point a quarantine can... Kano! Kuze snapped. Quarantine? I have no idea what that is. I'm giving you an order, and I'm not accepting that order. Listen, Kuze said. How many years have you been a cop? What do you mean by that, sir? Kuze didn't reply. Is this an order from up top? What's going on here, sir? Please, I need some kind of explanation. Stop it, Kuze said. You sound like a child. This is dereliction of duty. Call me a child if you want, but I'm not following an order that I know isn't right. Oh man, we hung up on our boss. Kind of punched the end call button with his thumb. From an objective standpoint, maybe Kuze was right. They need to think about more than just Maria. If the Uwa virus spread throughout Shibuya, it would be a nightmare of epic proportions. Kano understood that perfectly clearly. But still, he looked down at Maria's face as she lay collapsed on the floor. The girl was still alive, and Kano couldn't stand idly by and let a living, breathing person die. Consequences be damned, he wasn't going to be the one to weigh the worth of someone's life. As he stood, still clenching his cell phone, Stanley gently set a hand on his shoulder. I'm calling an audible. Click. You did fine, he said quietly. Alfred is in possession of the Uwa virus. The people of Shibuya are already in danger. He may have already released the virus in the city. If he hasn't, he may do so at any time. Right now, what we need to do is get that antiviral and arrest Alfred. You made the right choice here. Thanks, Stanley. I appreciate hearing that. Stanley gave Kano a slap on the back. He was right. At this point, they need to focus on things they could still accomplish. Alright, so Stanley seems like he's getting nicer, which means one of two things. One, he's actually getting nicer and he's developing somewhat of a conscience. Or two, he's either Alfred or works directly for him and he needs to help us get to the lab to get to the antiviral so that he can steal it for himself. Or he's doing it for the CIA to steal the antiviral so that they can have a means to protect themselves if they ever want to use this thing. I don't know if he's going to betray us or not. I'm hoping he's not, but I don't trust him fully yet. At this point, because Alfred spoke to us through the PCs there, so like, was that a pre-recorded message? He's a double, triple, quadruple agent. It's, you know, with this game where everything is connected, I wouldn't be surprised. At this point, they still need to focus on the things that they could still accomplish. Like, we have to have several twists left. Like, there's no way that this is just going to be that simple. So, guys, Achi stepped forward. Who's going to take Atomi's sister and Kanan to the lab? Maria was in no condition to walk, so they were going to have to take a car, which meant they needed a driver. I only have a motorcycle license, Achi said, and I don't know where the lab is anyhow. I should go with Maria alone. Kanan looked over at the others. There's no way of knowing for sure when she might become contagious. We shouldn't needlessly risk exposing more people to infection. She knelt down to gather Maria in her arms. In that case, I should drive. Kind of whirled around the sound of a new voice behind him. Oh my gosh, it's Tateno! Have you grew a spine yet? Tateno was standing in the doorway. You! Achi's face went red with rage. Okay, so this is a chance to switch to Achi's story, but we're not. Oh, we can start Achi's thing over here? That's interesting. Oh man, that is a keep out. Wow, okay. Alright. Let's see how it is. Or we're just starting off with these keep outs to force us to go between each character, huh? Okay, so, you know, I guess... Oh, Achi is starting with a keep out over there. That's interesting. 1 second. Is that... Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. So yeah, it's forcing us to switch back and forth between everybody. Very, very good. I mean, it makes sense. Because there's 3 characters left. It's gonna have to force us to interact with everybody. Well, fine. Maybe I'll just take the jumps whenever they're presented to me. Tenno standing in the doorway. You! I can understand why Achi is angry. I mean, like, this guy tried to kill them multiple times. You! Achi snarled. That was definitely a snarl, Dovey. In the doorway stood the man with the cane. Detective Tateno? Tateno. Kano and Daisuke spoke simultaneously. Now at last, Achi had a name for the assassin. It was a name he'd felt he'd heard somewhere before. You son of a bitch! Achi roared. What the hell are you doing here? Tateno bowed his head profusely. I'm truly sorry. You're sorry? Sorry don't cut it, man. Not after what you were trying to do to Hitomi. I don't expect you to forgive me. I intend to turn myself in to be punished for my crimes. But before I do that, please let me do what I can to help you. I think you've helped enough. Achi grabbed Tateno by the collar and drew back his fist. Kana moved to stop him, but Tateno held up a hand. No, it's alright, let him do as he pleases. There was no trace of menacing expression the man had worn in their previous encounters. Achi scowled, but lowered his fist, and released his hold on Tateno's collar. Fine. Hitomi's sister needs help, so we do need a driver right now. Make sure those two get to the lab and back safely. That'll make up for the punch I didn't give you just now. Thank you. I'm so sorry. How the heck is Minorikawa's story gonna... Is he gonna find out who Alfred is? That'd be wild, wouldn't it? Daisuke stepped forward. No, I'm the one who should be apologizing. I'm the one who got you caught up in this. Daisuke, we really didn't grow up to be very good people, did we? No, guess not. The two men stared bleakly at each other, shoulders slumped. In the end, Tateno said, I guess we were just trying to run away from our pain. Yeah, didn't expect my own son to be the one to teach me that. Achi's turned out to be a fine young man. He is Katone's boy, after all. Guys! Achi stepped into the middle of their solemn heart-to-heart.
Can you hear me?
Thank you for the bits. That actually surprised me. You can get all sappy all you want later. Dad, once this is all over, we're gonna see Suzune, okay? Sure. Daisuke nodded heartily. Hold on, Kana spoke up, turning to Stanley. If these two take Maria to the lab, that leaves just us two to apprehend Alfred down at the Scramble. Is that gonna be enough? I mean, Alfred's not gonna show up without a plan. The more people we have on our side, the better. It was very well timed. And I doubt we'll be able to get any help from the police. I don't even know, was that Chiaki's voice clip? I have no idea. I don't think, it had to be Chiaki, I guess. I doubt we'll be able to get any help from the police. Good point, Stanley agreed. Hey, Achi said, I'm here too, and I'm going with you. I'll keep Hitomi safe. Oh look, good news, Kano, now we have 3 people. Stanley let a sardonic laugh. Kano frowned. Achi, I appreciate the offer, but having 3 people instead of 2 won't make much of a difference. Talk about, it's 150% more people. When you're not sure of the enemy's exact plan, you really need strength in numbers. If we could set up a dragnet like the task force did this morning, that would be ideal, but... I think that we should enlist the help of SOS. Come on, detective, Achi said. Don't you have any idea what sort of approach this psycho might take? If I were Alfred, Kano mused, then I suppose my biggest problem would be figuring out how to get away after I'd taken Hitomi's blood. Stanley nodded in agreement. I'm betting he plans to involve the Uo virus, he said. If, for instance, he tells us he set up a device somewhere to spread the virus at Shibuya, that prevents us from taking action against him. Achi swallowed hard. This guy wanted to unleash a killer virus in Shibuya? If he succeeded, then the town Achi had known and loved all his life would become a graveyard. Of course, that's mere conjecture, Stanley murmured. Quite frankly, even I can only guess what he's going to do. His expression was grim. Strength in numbers, huh? Achi said. So you're saying we absolutely need more people, is that it? Essentially, yes, Stanley replied. But not just anyone, mind. If it's not a group that meshes well, it'll hinder more than help. Kind of folded his arms across his chest, he looked perplexed. People who mesh well together, huh? Achi had an idea. Yeah, no, we're not asking the police. We're asking SOS! Yeah! I knew it! Sorry, I just hit my mic. I knew we were going to the SOS route. If there's anything he could do, it was that. It was a selfish request, he knew that. Suzumu would probably be furious with him, but Achi would just have to deal with that. Even if his old pals wouldn't forgive him, if they understood that they'd be helping to protect Shibuya, he was sure they'd step up and take action. After all, the whole point of the gang was that it made up of people who loved their town. Can you give me a half hour? I'm gonna try to see if I can rustle up some people. Kind of straighten himself up. You think you could do it? Achi nodded assertively. Just wait here for me, okay? He said to Hitomi. She gave him a worried smile. Alright, I'll be waiting. It'll be okay. Achi did his best to sound reassuring. I promise I'll bring back some help. Oh boy. Oh boy. Putting our shoes on, he knew where he needed to go, the pool hall in Uraharajuku. That was the old gang's main hangout. Running at top speed, he could probably make it in about 10 minutes. Alright! Rushing out the door with a battle cry loud enough for Kano and the others to hear from back inside the shop, Achi sped on his way, so let's head back to Kano. Achi's protest was vehement, but he backed down at last. The tenant would escort Kanan and Maria to the lab. That left 3 to try to apprehend Alfred. Kano, Stanley, and Achi. Having only 3 people was a dicey prospect, though, so Achi took it upon himself to head out and gather some backup. Tano got the car keys from Daisuke, then helped Kanan pick Maria up off the floor. Kano watched him warily. There was no trace of the blood-curdling expression the older detective had shown when he was holding Maria at gunpoint. His face was that of a man with responsibility. Excuse me. The Teteno that Kano had always known. Are you sure you're okay doing this? Hitomi asked Teteno. You might get infected. That doesn't matter. Don't worry about me. All I care about now is helping you two if I can. He hesitated, glancing down the unconscious girl he held. By the way, have Maria's memories come back? Hitomi tilted her head. Her memories? I suspect she took a blow to the head when she was abducted. When I ran into her earlier, she didn't even know her own name. Well, she seemed like the same sister I've always known when she came in here. Good. Then her memory must have recovered. Kano was shocked to hear that Maria had suffered amnesia, but explained why she hadn't contacted anyone after she'd been set free. Alright then, Teteno said. We'll be back. Carrying Maria, he and Kanan headed for the door. Detective Teteno. Kano called out, then paused, tongue-tied, when Teteno stopped. There were so many things Kano wanted to say, but he couldn't find the words for any of them. Once Maria's safe, I'll turn myself in. Teteno kept his back turned. The words were like a dagger in Kano's heart. Once this was all over, Teteno would no longer be a detective, but a criminal. Kano knew there was no alternative, but still the realization hit him hard. Detective Teteno, Stop your dithering. But... Never lose sight of what you're supposed to protect. Ever. Kano snapped back to attention at Teteno's words. That was dictum number 1, the advice that had kicked off the whole Dick diary. I'm not the one you should be worrying about right now, Teteno continued. We need to save Maria Osawa's life, and protect the people of Shibuya. Kano bit his lip. I know that, but... Kano still wanted to express his regret at how things had turned out for his idol. You really are a terrible policeman, you know. Teteno gave him a bare hint of a smile, then headed out of the room. And as Kano watched him go, he realized he really didn't have anything to say. If that gave me like a bad ending, that was going to be weird. There are only 30 minutes remaining until the time when Alfred had told them Hitomi should be at the Scramble. They needed to get ready for action. Is the surveillance camera system still up? Kano asked. Yes, Daisuke replied. It looks like what happened earlier was just a temporary hacking job. Then will you help us? Daisuke inclined his head. What do you mean? I'd like you to keep your eye on Scramble for us. If anyone suspicious tries to get near Hitomi, let us know. And what's suspicious? Hell, I know what's suspicious. Like that organ trafficker suggested you kidnap Hitomi, Mr. Endo. It's possible he might be Alfred. Would you be able to recognize his face? Daisuke furrowed his brow deeply as he began entering commands on the keyboard. Yeah, I don't think I could ever forget. It's because of him that I left the rest unsaid. A moment later, several of the monitors switched over to feeds from around the Scramble. Alright, Daisuke squinted at the images. I'm not sure how much help I can be, but let me at least try to atone for what I've done. Of course, and thank you. Alright, Daisuke's fingers flew over the keyboard, and soon all the monitors were focused on Scramble and its surroundings. Then he carefully adjusted the angle and zoom for each of the cameras. Now the whole area was under total surveillance. All they had to do was get their stakeout crew to the scene. Where did Achi go? Kano asked Hitomi. I'm not totally sure, but I think he went to find some of his old friends. Hitomi sounded worried. Friends? Achi used to belong to a gang called SOS. Actually, he told me he was the one who formed the gang in the first place. What? Kano couldn't keep the shock from his voice. Achi was the founder of SOS? How bizarre the two of them would wind up meeting each other this way. But I guess there was a big falling out between them, so I think he went to try and win them back over. Kano hadn't heard anything good about SOS since Achi had left them. If things had ended on bad terms between him and the gang, getting them to help might well be a lost cause. Even if Achi was able to gather some people up, how much would Kano and the others be able to trust them? He'll be alright, Hitomi said, as if sensing Kano's thoughts. I'm sure Achi will bring back some of his old friends, and when he does bring them, I'm sure he'll choose people we can count on. You really trust him, don't you? Yes, Hitomi said without hesitation, then a blush came to her cheeks. Alright, then I'll trust him too. It would take about 10 minutes to get from Endo Electronics to the Scramble. Kano turned to Stanley. Let's plan to head out by 6:50. Stanley gave no reply. He had withdrawn to the edge of the room where he stood lost in thought, his expression uneasy. Kano decided to leave him alone for a bit. Taking a sheet of paper from one of the desks, he began drafting a plan for positioning Achi's reinforcements around the Scramble. I don't trust him now. Alright, there we go. In about 5 minutes, he had drawn up a little map of the optimal places to deploy the team. It included positions for as many as 20 people Achi might bring back. Kano turned around, surprised to find Stanley right behind him all of a sudden. The American looked haggard. Is something the matter? Kano asked. You need to go to the Scramble without me. What? Where's this coming from all of a sudden? Please don't ask me to explain. Something else has come up and I have to see to it. Sweat beaded on Stanley's brow. Whatever had happened, Kano had no doubt it was something major. And almost certainly it had something to do with Alfred. Don't be Alfred, please! I want to trust you, Stanley, Kano said. Please tell me, we're past the point of keeping secrets. They'd come this far together. Surely it was too late to get all tight-lipped now. I'm sorry, I wish I could tell you more. Stanley dropped his eyes. Kano had a vague idea of what Stanley was up to. He probably felt he needed to keep things hidden, even from his own allies, in order to keep Alfred in the dark. Or at least that was Kano's guess. Alright, I understand, Kano said with resignation. Do what you have to and come back soon. It's gonna turn out Hitomi has been Alfred this whole time. That's how she survived this long. With an apologetic look on his face, Stanley turned and hurried from the workroom. Actually, it's Minorikawa. No, it's Chiaki. Chiaki is actually secretly Alfred. I figured it out. I figured it out, game. You thought that she could hide behind those cute dresses and bumbling demeanor. Ha! Kano glanced at his watch. It was coming up on 6:50. Pretty soon they'd have to head for the Scramble, but Achi still hadn't returned. We need to head out soon, he said to Hitomi. You said 6:50, she replied. There's still 2 more minutes to go. Kano let out a tiny sigh. He shared Hitomi's fervent hope that the reinforcements would come, but not her confidence. If Achi didn't reappear, Kano would be left to protect Hitomi all by himself, and to try to apprehend Alfred as well. You're Alfred! She is the ultimate gamer. You're Alfred! You're Alfred! I'm Alfred! Is anyone else here Alfred? Meow. Would he be able to pull it off if it came to that? No, we gotta wait. We gotta wait. He'd never be able to do it on his own. He decided to wait for Achi, accepting they'd be late. The clock kept up its steady ticking. With each minuscule movement of the second hand, Kano felt the tightness growing in his chest. A minute passed. 2 minutes. Time is of the essence. They couldn't keep waiting any longer. Hitomi, I don't like having to do this, but we can't wait any longer. Seeing the look of determination on Kano's face, she gave a tiny, reluctant nod. Alright, that's what I thought. I knew it! I'm surrounded by Alfreds! Who else is an Alfred here? No! Alright, let's continue with what we had Achi. Achi? Achi. Hachi had an idea. He could ask SOS. We saw this one already. Putting on our shoes. Alright. Okay. Hachi sped on his way. Traffic on Dogenzaka was at a near standstill. Had there been some sort of major accident? As Hachi ran along the roadside, he heard a middle-aged man screaming angrily. Hey! You've got to be kidding me! What do you mean no trains are stopping at Shibuya? It's Rumi's dad. This guy was red in the face. What the heck is going on, Hachi? Yeah, let's check things out. What the heck is going on? Hachi felt compelled to stop and check things out. This is probably going to be bad for us, but I need to talk to Rumi and her dad. Calm down, Dad. The young woman with the man must be his daughter then. How am I supposed to do that? You heard what the boy said. We have to get out of Shibuya right away. Whoa. Hachi got a look at the young woman's face. She was gorgeous. He had a feeling he'd seen her on TV before or something. She was probably an actress, but he couldn't recall her name. Well, Hachi muttered to himself, you might be pretty, but you're no Otome. Okay, we're just gonna keep going. Once more he broke into a run. There was a whole bunch of people walking in the direction of Route 246. It looked like folks really couldn't use the trains right now. Is this some consequence of Maria being infected with the Ua virus? I better hurry. We're the only people who can fix this. Yeah! With another cry to pump himself up, Hachi bolted down the sidewalk, counter to the throng. Finally arrived at SOS's hideout. Two young men were standing by the door's lookouts. Hachi recognized one of them. It was the kid whose so-called buddies had tried to shake him down earlier that afternoon. Oh, that's lucky for us then. They roused themselves as Hachi approached. Hey, I need to see Susumu. No can do, he's in the middle of something right now. The lookouts made no move to let him through. Hachi felt a surge of resentment towards Susumu. He'd still been with SOS. If he'd still been with SOS, he'd never try to post members on guard duty like they were low-ranking Yakuza thugs. Yeah, no, let's be nice, please. Hachi pressed again. Please, I need to see him, it's important. Just tell him Hachi's here, he'll make an exception. The mention of his name, the two lookouts exchanged glances. Alright, I'll go ask him. One of the lookouts headed inside, leaving Hachi alone with the kid he'd helped out earlier. Do they always take you on guard duty? The boy didn't reply. Back when I ran with SOS, we never needed anyone on lookout. We were just a bunch of guys who loved Shibuya and who had a fun time hanging out with each other. That's all it was, really. It's not Susumu's fault that SOS changed, the boy said somewhat fearfully. Lately, it's Kiryu who's been driving things. Kiryu? Oh yeah, that guy. Hachi recalled his earlier run-in with him. The guy was an arrogant bully. Kiryu-chan. Kiryu's planning to steal Susumu's throne. What for? The boy took a nervous look at the door before hurriedly continuing. He's trying to expand SOS's influence, and he's got a lot of people on his side. Right now, the gang is kind of split into two factions. Susumu's guys and Kiryu's guys. Finally, Hachi understood what was going on. The gang members have all been acting so weird because they're caught up in some kind of internal struggle. Kiryu goes around recruiting new followers by force, and if he doesn't like you, he dishes out punishment. This month alone, he sent 8 people to the hospital. SOS is a total mess, man. This plan of mine might not work after all. Hachi felt a sinking sense of despair. If SOS was ravaged with infighting, it was doubtful they'd heed the dangerous request he had for them. Even still, I want to be a part of this gang, the boy muttered. Hachi peered at him in surprise. Why? They shake you down for dues, take you on guard duty? It's not a decent way to treat someone. I look up to Susumu. He treats me like he would anyone else, even though I'm way down at the bottom. And it's not just me. Susumu always puts the members of the gang before himself. That's why I want to stick with SOS. Aha, so that's it, huh? Susumu really had been trying his best, and the members of SOS, some of them at least admired him for it and stuck by him. Thanks, Hachi said. The kid gave him a dubious look. Hachi didn't know if Susumu would help him out or not, but he knew it was still worth putting their disagreements aside in order to ask. The door opened and the other lookout returned. Susumu says to come on in. Ashi nodded and strode inside. Keep out? Oh, okay, I guess we jump here for Minorikawa then. Oh, Minorikawa was doing that piece on, That's right, they were all heading over to the, Inferno, right? I think so. To get that, the piece on SOS, so I guess that makes sense. Hang in there, Chiaki! Just keep it together! Minorikawa rushed to her side and offered her a hand. Surely it hardly matters at this point. You're not gonna make it on. Surely it hardly matters at this point. You're not gonna make it on time, regardless. Katayama said coldly. This guy. In any case, if 4-star General Gossip doesn't get released, it's Mr. Tayama who's gonna be in trouble, not you. I dare say the world would be better off with 1/3-rate gossip rag less, anyway. Shut your mouth! Shut your mouth! Chiaki snapped. If the gossip doesn't come out, I am gonna be in trouble. An article I've written is supposed to be next month's issue. It's a piece I've worked my very hardest on to the very end. A piece Mr. Mino saw fit to put in print. And so if that goes away, if all of that goes away, yeah, I'll be in trouble, all right. Oh. Chiaki's legs wobbled as she struggled to get back to her feet. Chiaki, Katayama said, your zeal is a marvelous thing, worthy of admiration even. When it comes to work, results are all that matters. Sad to have put it that way, but I must be honest, it's just common decency. Katayama glanced at his pocket watch. You have 57 minutes and 10 seconds remaining. At this rate, you won't even make it to the interview venue before your time's up. Frankly, I don't think even a further extension of your deadline would make any difference in the end. Damn it! Minorikawa ground his teeth. I wonder if he should just leave Chiaki here and go interview SOS by himself. He could expand the article on SOS, then work a small part of Chiaki's interview piece in to at least fill the layout. Right now, the single most important thing was getting the magazine out the door for Tayama's sake. But if he did cut most of Chiaki's copy after all she'd done, he might wind up totally killing her passion for being a writer. I have to stop waffling. Professionals don't let their personal feelings dictate their decisions. I can help Chiaki work through her emotional struggles later. Chiaki, that's enough! The young woman got to her feet, staggering as she began to climb the stairs. I'm not giving up, she said under her breath. I can't give up now. Though obviously in pain, she struggled to keep her legs moving. Oh, damn, I can't do it. I can't do it. Look how hard she's fighting to stay in the game. I can't tell her I don't need her article now. Releasing the next issue of the Gossip wasn't just going to save Toyama, it would save Chiaki as well. Minorikawa couldn't abandon either one of them. Which left him with a hell of a dilemma. He needed to make a decision. If he didn't stop wavering soon, they'd be out of time. But try as he might, he couldn't come up with a plan. Then he heard a familiar voice from behind him. If you're wondering what path to take, allow my taxi to be your guide. Yay! Are you gonna carry Chiaki on your shoulders? What's this music? I'm sorry. It's doing it like the cowboy hero striding into town on his horse to save the day and clean things up. Minorikawa spun around to see Kimizuka standing there. I mean, this guy has been one of the heroes of this story. Where to, sir? The driver asked. Despite his polite demeanor, his pride was obvious. Mr. Kimizuka, I appreciate the thought, but with this traffic... Traffic? I see nothing of the sort. Okay, sure, but... Minorikawa was well aware of Kimizuka's capabilities, but the prospect of cutting through the chaos that currently filled the streets was more than a little daunting. When you know this town as well as I do, there's nowhere you can't go. Alright. What other choice do I have? Guess I gotta trust you. This'll be my last request of the day. Minorikawa pointed down the street. Take us to Bride. No. Inferno. Take... I thought it said Utso. Take us to the Labyrinth. We want to go to Inferno, right? Take us to Inferno in Uraharajuku. Inferno in Uraharajuku, the bar? No, were we supposed to go to the Labyrinth? Yes, is something the matter? No, nothing at all. Hurry up and get in. I think I chose the wrong option. Oh my god. As soon as Minorikawa and the others had climbed into the cab, Kimizuka tore off through Shibuya's network of narrow side streets. I thought that's where we were going. The passengers in the backseat jostled roughly back and forth to the sound of screeching tires. This is altogether far too excessive, Katayama. Deja vu! Katayama murmured, wincing as his head bounced repeatedly against the window. To think we allow such inconsiderate driving here in this country. Chiaki, meanwhile, had opened her laptop and was somehow working furiously to finish her copy. The sound of her fingers clicking across the keys echoed within the vehicle. How's it going, Chiaki? Minorikawa asked. Just a little more. Her eyes were glued to her monitor, her face all seriousness. Kimizuka glanced over at Minorikawa. If I may ask, sir, what business do you have at this bar? Just a little interview. I hear a local gang called SOS uses the place as their big hangout. Okay, it was where it is. You're interviewing SOS? Sir, I feel it might be best not to get too involved with that lot. There was something about the driver's warning that seemed a little off. Do your taxi driver connections tell you what SOS is up to? Minorikawa asked. Originally, there was something of a vigilante corps in the name of keeping the neighborhood clean and safe, but lately I hear nothing but bad things about them. These loan sharks had said something very similar. Minorikawa reminded himself he'd better be on his guard. Katayama chimed in. And just how do you plan to go about interviewing a gang like this? That's nothing for you to worry about. I have a plan. Oh, and just what exactly is this plan? It's a secret! Katayama gave him a derisive grin. Clearly, he wasn't impressed. Minorikawa turned to look at Chiaki. She appeared too engrossed in her copy to even hear the conversation. I realize this is for work, Kimizuka said to her worriedly, but do you really need to take such risks? Yes, I do. Minorikawa thought back to the look on Toyama's face, that look when he'd finally regained his confidence. He couldn't let Heaven Publishing go under. Toyama provided the canvas on which Minorikawa shared his art to the world. Thinking about it now, Minorikawa realized he'd always been chasing Toyama's shadow, though it was galling to admit the man had been the ideal Minorikawa strove to live up to. That was why he hated seeing Toyama reduced to such a pathetic state. He wanted Toyama to remain indomitable, to keep busting down any and all obstacles his own particular way. Still, Minorikawa wasn't about to voice these feelings aloud. He felt more than a little embarrassed to be taking it all so personally. When you take on a job, you give it 100% every time. That's what makes you a professional, he said. Wouldn't you agree? I do indeed, Katayama chimed in, but you'll have to demonstrate that 100% in the limited time you have left, which, by the way, is 51 minutes and 30 seconds. I will not budge in the slightest on that submission deadline. Please do keep that in mind. The man took another look at his watch. I've got half a mind to break that thing, Minorikawa told him. Breaking my watch will not stop time. Minorikawa shot him a furious glare, but Katayama's composure was unwavering. The guy was unflappable, and the only way Minorikawa was going to be able to put him in his place was to meet that damn deadline. Easier said than done, though. He'd want to use 30 of the 51 minutes he still had to write his article. Excuse me. That only left him 20 or so to get the material. Kimizuka suddenly slammed on the brakes and the cab skidded to a halt. Minorikawa stared through the windshield in shock and saw a smallish boxy minivan weaving erratically along the road. Whoa, look out, that thing's heading our way! Don't worry, sir, the driver replied. Just leave this to me. Keeping his cool, Kimizuka dexterously steered them clear of the oncoming vehicle. As the minivan sped past, an eerily cold breeze wafted over the taxi. The vehicle is being driven by members of the Wandering Angel theater troupe. Oh, okay. They're on their way to return the dry ice. Oh, that's why. The dry ice machines they use in the performance to Endo Electronics. The machine is malfunctioning, continually spitting out white plumes of carbon dioxide. The troupe members inside the van are beginning to suffer from oxygen deprivation and are driving around Shibuya in a daze. Will they be able to make it to Endo Electronics in the end? I love throughout the game, we've just had this multi-part story about the Wandering Angels, but only in like the little side things here. It's great. What the heck was that? Minorikawa asked. I'm not sure, Kimizuka said. Let's hurry on our way. Nimbly manipulating the gear stick, he stomped on the gas once more. Here we are, sir. They pulled up outside the dilapidated old pool hall. You're a lifesaver. Ryan, you're a lifesaver. Minorikawa clapped a hand on Kimizuka's shoulder. Just be sure to be careful, sir. Minorikawa nodded. Huh? What? Chiaki asked, looking up. What are we being careful about? Nothing, Minorikawa said. You just wait here in the car. You've still got that copy to finish up, yeah? Well, yes. All right, then. Chiaki frowned, but resumed her typing. And you wait here, too, Minorikawa said to Katayama. But of course, that goes without saying. Incidentally, you have 49 minutes and 6 seconds remaining. Minorikawa did some quick mental math. With the half hour he'd already set aside, that left him 19 minutes. However dangerous SOS might be, he couldn't afford to hesitate for even a single second. Bracing himself, he stepped out of the taxi and headed for the pool hall. Whew! Minorikawa took a deep breath as he approached the grimy door. Here goes. He drew his leg back and gave the door a hearty kick.